Going on, everyone? John Matrix here. So today we are jumping back into the SCP universe with the Exploring series. We're checking out Exploring the SCP Foundation, SCP-1678 UnLondon. I have no idea what to expect from this one. I have some, I would assume it has something to do with London and the British, but who knows? I have no idea. Don't know why I'm talking in a weird British accent all of a sudden. Nah. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna check that out today. As always, links will be down below to the Exploring series channel and to the original video here, without my commentary, reaction, etc. So if you would do me a favor, click on those links, give this original video a like if you enjoyed it, check out his channel, maybe give the guy a sub, check out any other ways to support him if you'd like to. A lot of times I do these reactions live for my YouTube members, so if you want to, there's a join button somewhere down below underneath this video. You can click that, check out the YouTube membership tier, see if any of those have any interest to you if you would like to take your support to the next level. But regardless, I just appreciate you guys coming and hanging out, checking out the videos. Greatly appreciate it. So with all that said and done, shameless plugs out of the way, let's just get into the video. Well, that is the wrong monitor. There we go. All right. I don't know why OBS does that sometimes. It randomly changes things on me. Should be nice and fresh, you know. Woohoo. Anyway.
SCP-1678. UnLondon. Modern humans have been building structures to protect themselves in case of disaster for a long time now.
Obviously.
Storm cellars across the Midwest of the US, to air raid shelters in the UK, to personal fallout shelters built to protect against a possible nuclear attack. Sometimes these shelters are small, only capable of sustaining a handful of people, while some are built to hold thousands of people. And then there's UnLondon. SCP-16...
This looks very Bloodborne-y, even though it's kind of, you know, modern day with the carriage cars or whatever here, whatever they're called. This is very Bloodborne, Victorian kind of feel. Just with electricity, you know, I don't know. Interesting. Very interesting artwork.
Of people. And then there's UnLondon. SCP-1678 can be summarized simply enough. A duplicate city built beneath London in a Victorian style of architecture.
Interesting.
But this wouldn't be an SCP without some anomalies. SCP-1678 is located a kilometer beneath the city of London, and from what the Foundation has explored, seems to be an exact duplicate of the city as far as street and building layouts are concerned, as well as building sizes and shapes.
So it is a carbon copy of London underneath London, just in a Victorian setting. Interesting.
As far as the Foundation can tell, 1678 was created instantaneously through an unknown process, centered on the Houses of Parliament. This is evidenced by the fact that the buildings nearest to the Houses of Parliament are constructed with traditional materials, with no obvious flaws in design. But as the distance increases from there, buildings start to incorporate odd materials and designs.
Makes me wonder if this was some kind of, like, thing done by some kind of occult group or whatever, back during, you know, the 1800s. There's a lot of, you know, weird kind of occult stuff, you know, alchemical stuff going on. I don't know. Interesting.
Such as being constructed entirely out of copper pipes, or buildings containing no floors or windows. This is a very similar effect to SCP-184, the Architect, signifying a possible correlation between the two.
I haven't heard of the Architect yet, so I guess we're going to have to do a follow-up video about the Architect, and what they could be about.
Buildings are made with a Victorian-era style of architecture, and mostly resembles London as it appeared during that time. But there are also duplicates of more modern structures made in a Victorian style. The city is very lightly illuminated, with traditional gas lighting, although some of the distant lights appear as just floating orbs, and it's unknown how the city is supplied with oxygen or gas.
Yeah, that's weird.
It would seem that the city has been outfitted to house far more people than normal, with closely grouped bunk beds found in any building suitable for housing. Despite this intent of mass housing, however, researchers have found the majority of buildings to be unfit for habitation, with large amounts of mold, damp, and poor construction, likely due to whatever effect created these buildings in the first place.
That would be interesting if it is some kind of like mass spore fungal entity or whatever that has created a copy version of London underneath in order to get people to come down there and then, like, I don't know, maybe take them over somehow, some kind of like body snatcher thing, or, you know, I don't know. So just as a way of dragging people down there so it could take them over, you know, like there's like, you know, the zombie funguses out there or whatever that can infect various creatures and take over their bodies. Maybe it's something like that. So it's trying to create a facsimile of, you know, London, or of what it knows of London. You know, maybe it was a created or around during that time period. So like that's what the memory of it has, you know, of that Victorian kind of style of London or something. I don't know. Interesting.
And poor construction, likely due to whatever effect created these buildings in the first place. The only food that has been found so far comes from steel vending machines located in every building used for housing. These vending machines take the form of pumps, similar to fuel dispensers, and upon payment will pump out a half-liter of edible gel.
Disgusting.
This substance, known as Dr. Goody's Wonder Food, contains various minerals, vitamins, fats, and bulky...
I can't help but think of corpse starch in the 40K universe when you talk about that. Like, it just makes you think of, like, yeah, this is just like reconstituted people or whatever, like recycled people that they've then like canned and put out. And here you go. Here's all your vitamins, minerals, and protein in this little can here for you. Yummy.
Goody's Wonder Food contains various minerals, vitamins, fats, and bulking agents, as well as several unknown molecular structures.
But it said what? Dr. Goody's Wonder Food?
Is Dr. Goody's Wonder Food.
So I wonder, I wonder if it has something to do with like Wondertainment in some way. Because it's like what Dr. Wondertainment, right? If I remember correctly, which is either an individual or potentially an organization of people. No one really knows exactly what it is, but they do some kind of weird experiments on things or whatever. They like randomly create stuff and throw it out there and do weird stuff. I wonder if this is somehow affiliated with them, some kind of thing they were trying to do and maybe abandoned, and you know that's part of their food thing here, this Dr. Goody's Wonder Starch.
Well, this substance, known as Dr. Goody's Wonder Food
or whatever, yeah, so I don't know. Interesting.
Contains various minerals, vitamins, fats, and bulking agents, as well as several unknown molecular structures. While this porridge-like substance will sustain an individual for a number of weeks, long-term consumption will cause individuals to become dangerously underweight, with a strong chance of contracting illnesses such as scurvy.
Interesting.
Additionally, regular consumers are found to be more obedient to authority, and less likely to engage in acts of violence or sex, and will possess consistently high morale as long as they keep consuming it regularly. Foundation personnel are...
That's not suspect at all.
Morale as long as they keep consuming it regularly. Foundation personnel are forbidden from consuming the substance.
Clearly.
Although most of the buildings in the city that the Foundation has explored are used for housing, they have found some notable others. Researchers found a duplicate of the Natural History Museum, which contained representations of several SCPs in an exhibit titled The Fall of Man. The Foundation hopes to expand their contained perimeter to reach the museum, so that they can form a forward command post and eventually reach the Houses of Parliament, where they believe who or whatever is responsible for creating the city can be found. Upon entry into the city, a voice recording will play, in which an individual proclaims that if you're hearing this, then the world as we know it has ended. The recording seems to imply that all of the horrors from the dark corners of the world have broken free and taken over the planet. The ones who sought to contain these horrors, possibly alluding to the Foundation and other organizations, have been killed or scattered.
You know, as we're going through and watching this, I could see this being a great setting for a Souls-like game. You know what I mean? Where like your character just wakes up in this, you know, copy of London or whatever, and there's all kinds of weird creatures and horrors going through there, and like normal people that are, you know, being turned into these weird creatures through eating this various substance. And, you know, as you go along, you're kind of unraveling the mystery of who created this and why and what's happened to the real world. Is this real? Is this not real? You know, I could see this being an interesting setting for a Souls-like game. So anyone out there that's a game dev that would want to make, you know, a Souls-like game out of this, and just send me the check, you know. Send me the check.
Along with alluding to the Foundation and other organizations, have been killed or scattered, along with anyone else who resisted. The world belongs to them now, and the survivors can gather in UnLondon, where they can wait and prepare for a new beginning, since the monsters will inevitably turn on one another. The voice goes on to say how the survivors will eventually emerge from the city back to the surface, where their children will play among the bones of the long dead, and there will be a new age of mankind. They end the recording by saying how they will summon forth UnLondon, and it will burst from the ashes like a phoenix to become the first city of the new world.
It sounds like some kind of Fallout shit, honestly. Some like Fallout, Rapture, BioShock kind of stuff going on here, where, yeah, like someone has, you know, someone doesn't like the way the current world is going, and I guess can see the destruction of man, so they've gone through this great undertaking to save humanity by, you know, trying to create the civilization they believe in underground somehow. And yeah, I don't know, they're essentially just down there with the chosen ones, waiting out what's going to happen, only to rise up and create a new, better golden world for humanity. Interesting.
A number of other voice recordings periodically play throughout.
It's pretty sick artwork right there.
Some just reciting the current time, others warning you to stay away from restricted areas, and others that are a bit more perplexing. Some of them warn about mimetic creatures, suggesting the listener get a psych assessment to find out if they're affected.
Interesting.
One mentions a patterned screamer, which someday will likely get their own video, but they are essentially non-entities outside of reality that grow much more powerful based on mass awareness.
Chaos
Another
insurgents?
says that swelling and abnormal growths could be an early sign of possession by an entity known as the Slaver Man, which as far as I'm aware is an unknown entity unique to 1678.
Sounds like I there's so many things that I feel like, you know, are kind of could be references to 40K as I'm also going through this Warhammer 40K journey. That definitely sounds like, you know, some chaos incursions there is what they're talking about. So I don't know. I just find it interesting. Anyway.
Which as far as I'm aware is an unknown entity unique to 1678.
So SCP-1678 might have another SCP that is just unique to this area that is called the Slaver Man, he said.
Be an early sign of possession by an entity known as the Slaver Man, which as far as I'm aware is an unknown entity unique to 1678. So far as the Foundation is found, UnLondon is almost entirely devoid of living creatures, but there are a number of entities present in the city. Primarily, there are the Bobbies, which seem to act as the police of the city. They are constructed of human corpses that have been dismembered and reassembled with hinges and screws.
Nice.
And their heads are wrapped in bandages. So far, they have only responded to the Foundation's presence by immediately attacking their personnel with improvised weapons. When doing so, the Bobbies emit a sound similar to a police whistle, and loudspeakers in a 100-meter radius play an audio recording telling the criminal to halt. Bobbies will also be notified somehow if an individual approaches a restricted area in the city, and will soon arrive.
Interesting.
These entities are extremely resistant to damage, and so far only high-caliber rounds and explosives have destroyed them. It's believed that these Bobbies are actually former criminals, taken to a location in the city called Bryson's Home for the Poor. This is evident by the inmate-style jumpsuit worn under their uniforms, as well as one of the audio recordings mentioning that crime will not be tolerated and society's tormentors will become its defenders.
Interesting.
It's also suggested that the same fate will happen to the impoverished. There are also small flying constructs throughout the city known as the Eyes in the Sky, consisting of organic matter connected to a copper exoskeleton
Okay.
in the
Bird
shape
drones.
of a small bird, believed to once
Creepy.
resemble a pigeon. These constructs are equipped with a small video camera and possess an uncanny ability to track individuals. Finally, there are the wretches, humanoid figures dressed in rags, usually resembling old women. They are typically found on street corners with begging dishes and beg for food or money from any personnel nearby. Giving them food apparently causes them to begin weeping before vanishing in a burst of black smoke.
What the fuck?
Another audio recording mentions them by saying not to pity the wretch and allow them to pay the price of their betrayal for all eternity. So there's quite a few interesting things at work here. And
Yeah,
even
no
more
kidding.
things that are only hinted at or implied. A good SCP is often one that makes you continue to ask questions, even after finishing reading it. Who built UnLondon, and what disaster is it meant to prepare for?
Right.
How was it built instantaneously, but with such defects? Where did the first bobbies come from? And what did the wretches do to betray the city?
Right. And why did it deserve
At a
that
glance,
punishment?
UnLondon is not an incredibly original concept, as underground or otherwise remote utopias have been used throughout fiction, from BioShock
Right.
to Neil Gaiman's Neverwhere, and most glaringly China Miéville's UnLondon. While the concept might not be terribly original, there is enough here to pique one's interest, and it's certainly strange enough for the world of SCP.
A quote he's got here at the end here. Welcome to UnLondon, a city of the survivors, a city of the free. Together, fellow citizens, we will wait and prepare for the new beginning, the grand new world that is soon to come. Let the world above burn. We will endure. Let the monsters have their world. We will prepare, and let the ground tremble with the new Armageddon, as evil consumes itself. For I tell you, citizen, upon the day of the ruination of man, their insatiable appetites will turn them against one another, and their endless lust for death. We will wait. Interesting. It definitely has a very kind of Fallout meets BioShock Rapture kind of feel to it, where, yeah, someone, for whatever reason, doesn't like how society's going or sees where society's going, has some kind of different belief system for what humanity, different belief or moral system for what they think humanity should be or become, and somehow through some means has created this kind of Victorian area copy of London, maybe because that's what they thought the perfect, world would look like, or maybe they think the morals and beliefs of the people during that time period are what humanity should strive for, or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, they created this facsimile underground and are, trying to, I guess, bring people that maybe they've chosen somehow down there to survive whatever inevitable end they think is coming for humanity, to then rise up and be the new civilization and start a new golden era for humanity, is what it kind of sounds like. So, I mean, like you said, it's not a very it's not an original story, but an interesting one. And like you said, all the questions you kind of brought up in the end are questions that I would have, who created it? What is the exact real reason for it? What are they trying to really accomplish other than the obvious? There's got to be some kind of other, underlying reason for what they're trying to do. Who are these police? Why are they created the way they do? How is the food they're making created? And what is it about? It's obviously, it seems like it's almost what comes to mind is kind of like, from what I understand, back in the olden days when the pyramids were supposedly being created, they would have some kind of like mead of some sort. It's some kind of like mead, alcoholic beverage or whatever that they would give to the slaves back then to like keep them it would be enough to like sustain them as far as like giving them enough energy to work. It was mostly like a lot of carbs and stuff like that. Obviously it's beer, but it would also kind of keep them in this like semi, you know, drunk state, so they'd be somewhat more obedient and, you know, placid, I guess. So I mean, it kind of feels like the food is something similar to where like it sustains them, but eventually over time as they eat it, they get more emaciated, and they won't have necessarily the strength to be able to kind of fight back or resist. But at the same time, it also somehow makes them more obedient in general. So like, what is this food made of? You know, and I guess what other ulterior purposes would it have, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of questions I could brought about it. Like I said, it sounds like it would be a very interesting setting for a Souls-like game, you know, just with Lies of P coming out, you know, last year, kind of that similar Victorian setting ish, you know, I think about that and kind of Bloodborne. So I could see kind of, you know, a Souls-like a game being made in this setting where your character just kind of wakes up in this new place or whatever. You know, maybe you get flashbacks of what their life used to be like back before they were brought here, if they can remember or can't, you know, going through the various parts of this new underworld, trying to figure out what's going on, how they got there, why, fighting off all these various creatures, these wretches, these bobbies, and, you know, whatever else comes along, fighting various bosses and yada yada, and uncovering what the world is, why, etc., etc. So anyway, interesting video with some interesting questions. And yeah, I wonder if that slaver man they talked about was indeed some kind of like other SCP that is unique to this UnLondon area. So interesting. But that's gonna do it for this one. Appreciate you guys hanging out and watching the video with me. Like always, links will be down below in the description to the Exploring Series channel and to this original video of his without my commentary, reaction, etc. Do me a favor and just click on those links and go over there, and, you know, if you like this video that he created, give this video a like. Check out his channel, give him a sub if you like his content. He does a lot of content for SCP as well as other lore universes, so check out his stuff. Give the guys some support. Like I said, I do a lot of these reactions live for my YouTube members. There's a Discord for the community. If you guys want to join that, that's open to everyone. But yeah, you can click, there's a join button down below this video somewhere. You can click that, check out the YouTube membership benefit tiers, see if any of those have any interest for you. If you would like to support me, you know, take the support to the next level. But regardless, I just appreciate you guys coming in, hanging out, watching the videos. Really appreciate it. If you did like this video, consider leaving a like and a sub. This helps me and it helps the channel grow. And yeah, I just appreciate your time, and I hope you're having a wonderful day whenever you're watching this. Take it easy. If I can hit the right button.